And so when you
So
said you
it worked out
manifested him
perfectly.
back, how did you do that? You were thinking, oh, I hope that guy messages me like again, or what were
No,
you
I didn't
thinking?
say I hope. I just said I know he's gonna message me. I don't know how
Good,
I knew. I just, yeah, I don't even say I hope anymore
good,
because it's like,
good. There's no hope in
yeah,
manifestation. Great. Okay.
no.
How are you, darling?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Oh, I
Oh,
love the dress you're wearing. You look so pretty. So,
thank
darling, tell us
you.
about yourself. How long have you been in the squad?
Ooh, I would say it's been almost like 2 years, maybe.
Hey.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And when did you first discover Law of Assumption? Was it through me, or you already were watching other people and then you kind of watched me and
I
learnt about it, or
Someone told me about Neville Goddard
right?
like 4 years ago, but I
Hmm.
never really like watched anything of his or really like, it never really clicked for me until
Hmm.
I started watching you and your way of getting through to me. It really helped
Hmm.
make sense of it all.
And you said in one of your comments that it was better than a psychologist. Have you been to psychs and you couldn't
Oh
work this
yeah,
shit
oh
out,
yeah.
or?
I went to like psychologists since I was like 11 years old. Like I went
Okay.
like my whole teenage years. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm well versed in all that.
Yeah. And so, and you also did the Be Their Priority course, you said.
Yeah, I did that. I did Waffle. I did Kick-Ass You. I did Money Magnet. I've done a lot of your
Done all of them
courses.
while they've been in the squad. So, guys, the advantage when you're watching this back, if
Well,
you're not in the
I
squad, is
bought
when you're
them.
in it.
I bought
You bought
them.
them as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you can do them whilst in the squad, but then you can buy them on the website after. So tell us your story. So why? So there's, I can't work out from your many success stories. There's some SPs being mentioned earlier, and then there's the SP you're with now. Is this all the same SPs, or are they different ones?
So so there was one thing that you posted where the guy was talking about me being his princesses and queen. That was the guy. He was like kind of like I was dating a lot of guys at once
Yeah.
just because I was trying to forget about the original guy that I was joining your group for,
Right.
who like I'm so glad I'm not with at
Yep.
this point.
Happens a
Um,
lot. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, oh my gosh. So this there was the one that you had posted something about. He was like short-lived. It was like 3 weeks, but that was like while I was dating the guy that I'm with now, because I had just gone on dates with these people.
Right.
And then like that guy, um, that was like over. But I manifested the one that I'm with now coming back and asking me how my relationship was going. Because like
Really?
I met him through Bumble, but I really liked him and I thought he was really sweet. And I was kind of bummed that I had like latched on to this other guy, and was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend. So I'm glad that was like short-lived because I was like, he
And
was
so
nice and
how did it
everything, but
unfold? How did it unfold with your current SP? What happened?
so yeah, he basically like messaged me like shortly after that was over and was like, because I had told him like, I'm sorry, I can't go on a date with you. I had to cancel our what would be our first date because we were
Right.
just chatting. I
Right.
hadn't met him in person yet. Um, and he was like, so how's your relationship going? And I was like, well, funny enough, like actually, like how about that date? Let's set it up.
And so when you
So
said
it,
you
it worked out
manifested him
perfectly.
back, how did you do that? You were thinking, oh, I hope that guy messages me like again, or what
No,
were you
I didn't
thinking?
say I hope. I just said I know he's gonna message me. I don't know how
Good.
I knew. I just yeah, I don't even say I hope anymore
Good.
because it's like,
Good. There's no hope in
yeah,
manifestation. Great. Okay.
no. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just visualized him reaching back out.
And how has
So
that
yeah.
progressed, do you think, in terms of like how it's progressed with him and what you've learned and how you've changed? How do you think you've changed so that you've managed to be good with him?
So I had to change a lot because I had so many ideas in my head about relationships just like at some point having to fall apart. Like I was married for like 5 years and had a divorce. I left that relationship and
Hmm.
you know, and then I had another relationship after that that was like 2 years, and this was before all of the SP work that I do with you guys. But I didn't ever really look at myself as to what was making these relationships not fulfilling for me.
So you were talking
So,
in your head about, oh, relationships are like this, or they were like this, but you weren't focusing on you and realizing how you had created those situations.
right. And a lot of my stuff had to go back, like the work we do here with my childhood. Like I had a father who, you know, like abused my sister and left me when I was a kid, you know. And so like I had these two really strong stories. Like my number one kick-ass you was, I forget what fear number it is, but
don't worry about telling the fear number. We don't want to give it away. Yeah. But what was the focus you found in that course? Like that
I'm gonna get hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to get hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
so
heavily comes from when there's been abuse in a family. That's your assumption normally. Yeah.
So basically I had to reestablish this whole like groundwork of safety in myself and, you know, forget this, because it is just an idea, the whole anxious attachment, blah, blah, blah. But I was having that experience. I'd created that experience for myself.
And when you say that, was that a lack of
push-pull.
trust you had in your partner, or a constant fear that you will be hurt? Yeah.
Yeah. And just thinking that, oh, that they're going to leave at some point and it's going to all fall apart. Like, and I had to catch myself basically rehearsing these old stories in my head, like, and stop it and flip it. And, you know, this is a daily practice even still to this day for me, because those things have been so like habitual for so long that it's like, you know, oh, he looked at me funny, and so now my brain wants to go into that direction, and it's like, nope, you know, we can come back here and like just come back to what I really believe now. And that has gotten bigger, I feel, and that's why I have more success. Like the current guy that I'm with now, who I've been with now for over a year, like we had like, I created two little mini splits within that year, but he never actually like went away. Like he still was texting me every day. Like, but my brain was still just kind of like having to get used to this idea that somebody would want to stay and just really love me for who I am. And because my other relationships, I had to hide a lot of who I was, and I wasn't very vocal, and I didn't really express myself, which is, I think, part of the reason why I left, was because I had this idea that I can't be myself in a relationship without, you know, getting hurt or someone not liking it or having a problem some way. So I promised myself that this time around that I would just show up as I am and be who I am, and like allow them to really know me and express myself as I am. And that has led to like such a fun, fulfilling relationship. Like today we went and picked up corals for the saltwater aquarium that we're building together. And like it was just like so fun. And we were just like went to the gym together this morning, and you know, and it's just like I still have my studio, my space that I like have as my space, but I pretty much spend all my like nights and time over with him. And like that is kind of where my brain has gotten to in terms of like comfort, safety. Like I feel like I still have my own space. But you know, I still feel like we do a lot of stuff together, and he refers to his place as home, you know, for us.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So yeah, like he's like, oh, so when we go home, you know, like it's just like this kind of cutesy sort of thing that is allowing me to like establish that groundwork of safety to the point where now I'm able to stretch my vision further to be like, oh, I can imagine us, you know, having a home that's like ours, like that we pick together, you know, and like having the marriage thing, like for me, marriage was super loaded because I was already married once before. And so I was like kind of wavering in the back of my head, being like, I don't know if I really want to get married again. That wasn't really that fun. But like now I'm kind of going beyond that to be like, oh, actually, I think it would be fun to have this like fun partnership that feels like kind of like a fairy tale fun, like lovey-dovey best friend kind of all in one thing, like and to kind of elevate the idea of marriage in my head. So
and that's the thing, you've discovered that you had stories about marriage, you had stories about
yeah.
relationships, and if you wanted to have a marriage now, you had to get rid of those stories, because otherwise your brain would catastrophize about how it won't work, or it didn't work before, or it couldn't be a fairy tale, or he might leave, or
And
so you've
I
had
I would want to jet like because for me there was a lot of like me just feeling like I need to cut and run from relationships because I was afraid my selfhood, my individuality, my me-ness would get squashed under the weight of us, you know?
Is that because before you became a unit rather than your individual self in relationships, you felt like you couldn't be yourself, so you were kind of a bit codependent with that person? Okay.
So I've been
also
on this big journey of kind of coming out of that.
So what did you do? People will ask, what were you saying to yourself to get yourself to a point where you are now safe in the knowledge that that person will love you for you? What things were you actually doing and saying, like technique wise? Were you affirming? Were you visualizing? What were you doing?
A lot of affirming, specifically like in moments of being triggered and like moments where I'm noticing myself spinning off. I kind of had like my fail-safe ones that I sort of fell back on, that I picked up these ones from Sarah Storms, and I picked this up from the one lady who,
from our mentors.
I forgot her name. No, the one that you interviewed with her husband.
With some of the live interviews. Holly.
Holly. Yes, Holly. So she had like, I am enough, I'm chosen, and I am something else. I'm basically that I'm enough and I'm chosen. You know, those were like the really big ones for me because you know, I had a lot of like body dysmorphia and just like kind of issues with feeling like, you know, someone is going to cheat on me and like because of past experiences. So I had to really focus on those self-concept things.
So I noticed in here you said he loves my body the way it is and all that stuff. So did you have stories before that were body dysmorphic stories of like, he won't like my body the way it is?
And it's funny because I've manifested both things being said by him because of my wavering thoughts. And so it's like, I don't even have to like blame him because I can recognize, oh, that's just me and my own internal shit. But more often than not, it's been like, oh, you're gorgeous. I love your body. You have such a nice ass.
But you were aware enough, Katerina, to notice that when he said something unfavorable, that you had created that. So there's no point getting triggered or starting a fight over him saying, oh, you know, maybe you could lose some weight or whatever it is that he said. You knew that you had created that.
Exactly. So it's like, I'm at this point now, I don't ever even get triggered at anything he says or does because I'm like, Loz in the back of my head is saying like, you created that. Don't even go there.
So let me ask you something. So I do that in relationships. I am very now nothing about nothing, right? Now, a lot of people misunderstand that and think that's being a doormat. So you explain to others who don't really get this, who think that is being mute or a doormat, what do you think it is that we're doing? That we're not being a doormat. What are you doing instead?
What I'm doing instead is what Sarah Storms says is like, who cares? We're blissfully happily married, you know, like who cares?
You're going
like,
to the end. So when you said before you were able now to go in the future, do you think you're able to go in the future, which is what is living in the end, right? Because you now have a story that future would be possible, that the you in the future would get that. So a lot of you focus on the future, but have a very hard time believing that future will occur because of the story you still hold about yourself and the story you still hold about relationships. So you somehow have managed to, when you're future thinking and living in the end, you're actually already imagining yourself there because you are now the person who could imagine themselves there.
Yep.
Where before you would think, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? Or, oh, I don't deserve that. Or this is a pipe dream. Or you were having some thoughts that weren't, you're trying to live in the future before.
Right. And then I was realizing those negative thoughts were creating that alternate reality that I didn't want.
Right.
So I had to stop those because I realized that that's like a whole other trajectory that I don't want to go on. So
now if you get triggered, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
So what I've said is that because I manifested some of the stuff that I was afraid of, like us splitting up and, you know, him saying some stuff that led to us splitting up and, you know, me just getting triggered and wanting to pack all my stuff and leave and a huff. And, you know, like when that happened, I literally just doubled down on listening to you. And I thought in the back of my head, I was like, this isn't over and this isn't over and I'm getting him back. And then within 1 week, it was like, literally like he's back and he's saying like, I miss you, you know, and he's like going above and beyond trying to like woo me and take me on trips and dates and and like just be like, please, like, you know, he was literally back and begging because I was like in my head, you know, just being like, no, I'm not gonna like give in to this thing that I created. And I'm gonna realize that I'm the one creating it, so I don't have to feel victimized by it. I can just step back into my power and realize I don't have to create endings for myself. Like I can just choose to believe that like we can just keep getting closer and this relationship can keep getting juicier and yummier as the time progresses.
So when you said then he came back and begging, did you actually do that course?
I had done it, but I did it in the squad, yes.
In the squad.
So yeah.
So you just said then,
there was
I
forgiveness
don't have to
in there
create,
for sure.
Yeah, forgiveness in there. But you just said then, I don't have to create endings. Now, did you associate, you must have done in Kikasu, the fact that a person who thinks they're going to be hurt will end something because of their fear of getting hurt, so they end it before they get hurt. Well, you used to do that, right?
Yes.
So you have discovered that you don't need to end things or cut them off or push them away or run away or end the relationship, because now you've decided what?
Well, I've just decided that like I can have a relationship that I'm happy with, you know, and that it can feel fun and fulfilling. And you know, little things don't have to be blown up into these huge things, you know, and that's kind of what would happen in the past is like, I would have like dating coach bullshit in the back of my head of like, oh, he did this thing and now you need to like, you know, leave.
Next.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries. Like,
exactly.
Set a boundary and tell him you're not happy here. You're like,
I know, and it's like, it's felt like Groundhog Day because I've had the same experience in so many different relationships that it's like what you're saying is just, that's why I'm saying it's better than any psychologist out there, because all of them are kind of parroting this whole like next bullshit when really it's me creating this experience that I don't want. So why would I leave? Because I'm literally just going to take that with me when I literally have chosen to stay with this man, even in spite of things that people would normally say, oh, you guys should just break it off, like
me too,
and like
me too.
I'm just like no, I like him and he's fun and I enjoy him, so I'm gonna work on
it, so why would I leave?
So it's like, why would I leave? Like even like some bullshit stuff that has happened where, you know, like he had a period where he was like drinking excessively and I was just like, okay, like I see how that was created by me feeling like I'm not a priority. And you know what? That's changed. And now he makes me a priority. I don't even have to ask for things. Like he literally just like does things and he just puts me at the top of the list constantly and is always making me feel like I'm important, and he's not drinking anymore. And it's like, I know I manifested that too. And it's like, so like I kind of, what I really want to tell people is that literally you're creating all of it, like all of it, even the stuff that, you know, is like, you know, scary that people don't want to talk about that much, you know, like, you know, things that are like painful or, you know, abusive or whatever, like that was all coming from me. Like I've had moments with him where that old stuff was being activated, and I'm recognizing now that it was like that was coming from the thoughts in the back of my head being like, I wonder when I'm going to get scared of him and want to feel like I have to leave, you know, like, and I don't deal with any of that anymore, and we just have fun. And literally any moment that he might raise his voice a little bit when he's frustrated or something, and I just kind of look at him and I'm just like, you know, and it's just so, it's over in like 2 minutes, and it's like I don't get triggered because I'm not feeling attacked, because I am in the point of feeling like no one can attack me, because like almost like in a revision sense too, of like no one's ever hurt me. And I've kind of gotten to that point of realizing like I've actually been fine this whole time, and I've just had these really bad stories that have been getting in the way of me having the intimacy that I craved with people.
And the thing is, when you get that, what you just said, oh, no one actually was hurting me, that's huge. Because what you've just observed is the fact that you created stories and you saw the world and people through the lens of you will hurt me. And you've finally taken that lens off your face and you're like, actually, were they really? My hair's stuck in my glasses. Were they really? And now you're like, oh my God, I can even look back at scenarios where I assumed hurt and it wasn't even occurring, but I was triggered so much by it that I reacted in a way that made that assumption true because I hurt who? Myself.
Yeah. And I was walking around like in such a victim mode. Like I was so hypersensitive to anybody having any sort of, you know, expression, you know, that wasn't like, you know, the salt lamp lady, you know, like, come on, like seriously, like, and that's why I had to stick around with you too, because like you triggered the shit out of me at first.
I do with
but
everyone.
It's just like, yeah, and I loved it though, because it really helped me get past this idea that like that people being passionate or even like verbally like you know, like that's hurting me somehow. Like it's not. It's literally just you expressing like there's no blood. I'm like not bleeding. Like there's nothing. There's nothing here. And literally if I can hear it with my heart, like, and even anything he's said, it's really never been hurtful. Like he's literally just been expressing himself. And so,
but he's expressing what you already assumed about yourself.
Exactly.
So you can't get annoyed because you have a story about them, they're this way and then they turn up that way, or I'm this way and then they say you're this way. You can't get annoyed at it because you were the originator of it.
Exactly.
So when you get to this point, guys, that Katerina is so when Katerina has got to this point, it's meant that there were probably plenty of times in your relationship currently where you could have walked away, you could have started to fight, you could have, you know, had breaks, and you've decided what? Like, what did you do? Did you not speak? Did you respond differently? Did you think before you spoke? What have you done now when you're triggered, other than the thing of like going in the future? I mean, in the actual moment itself, what do you choose to do instead, of what have you done? Like, think of a situation, because this is what everyone wants to hear. Like, what did you actually do?
So I kind of like will go inward for a minute. Like we'll be talking. I'm just kind of imagining us like in the car and him saying something, whatever. Like this kind of scenario. Like I'll be quiet for a minute. I'll think to myself like, what did I think that created this? And like really just take accountability for it in that moment, because once you start asking yourself that question, it's actually really easy to find the answer. And you'll just know it like right then and there and be like, oh yeah, I can trace that back to the conversation I was having with myself in the bathroom when I was getting ready, you know, like that kind of a thing. Like, and like, then I'll realize where the seed was planted, and then I'll flip it in my head and I'll just like start saying the opposite to myself, so that way I can kind of dig up that seed and plant a new one, and
even if they don't change in that moment, even if they don't change in that moment, you haven't done something to fuck everything up. You haven't verbalized your hurt to then fuck it up. A lot of this isn't, guys, a lot of you think that this is like, oh, as soon as I switch my thinking, they'll change in the moment. Sometimes they don't. It's you changing in the moment and then they change. But sometimes it's not immediate. right? A lot of you are
Right.
expecting miracles.
Sometimes it's not.
Right. Where it's
You know, like,
Katerina knowing she has to change. Sorry, darling, what were you going to say?
what I was going to say was that, like choosing to not be triggered in the moment is really just a matter of, like, you just calming yourself down in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And not allowing yourself to go into that reaction mode where you're like, it's basically like screaming at the bathroom mirror. Like, you've used that example before. It's like, it's so silly because it's literally just your thoughts out pictured. So why would you be getting mad at the thing that you, like, are reflecting, you know, from your own thinking? So
Wonderful. Like, could I read
like,
you out some questions that people have written? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
All right, let me see. How to stay in the state without thinking all the time about him. I want to get in the state and keep the focus on me. So before you actually got together, how did you make the focus be on you to kind of build yourself up before this all occurred? Or when you were starting out and you were starting to date, to stop you focusing on him too much, how did you make the focus go back on you? What were you doing?
I just kept focused on my own routines, and, like, I found it to be really helpful to keep my mind occupied with doing something else. And any time that I would think about him, I think I was doing what was the one course where you had all the sticky notes and the heads and, like, with all the thoughts and stuff? Because
I think that was their priority.
Their priority. Okay, so that came out around the time that I was still sort of in that, like, transitioning into this, like, more committed sort of thing with him.
Right.
And so I would, in the times when my mind would trail off to think of him, I would start just thinking the sticky notes and, like, thinking, like, the positive things that I want him to be thinking about me. And then, like, lo and behold, I started noticing those things coming in from him.
Right. And what were the kind of things that you were sticky noting about yourself? Like, what were the things you wanted him to think about you?
That he wants me around all the time, that he, like, loves spending time with me, that he loves being so close, you know. Like, I used to, when in that beginning phase with him, what was happening was where we would only kind of, like, text, like, a little bit here, a little bit there. It would be like long time apart in the texting. And now, like, we're so close. It's literally like we're so close, like, we could spend all day together. And, like, when I call, he answers immediately. And, like, you know, it's just like, or if he doesn't answer, he calls right back. You know, there's just, like, that really close knitness now where
so, like, you went
that was what I was
started
seeding.
telling the story. Yeah. So you started telling the story
that he loves being close to me, that he wants me around all the time, that he loves living with me, you know. And, like, literally now I've been basically living with him without literally moving all of my stuff. Like, I have some stuff over there, but, like, I've been with him pretty much every night for, like, the last year. But I had to seed those thoughts in his mind. And because, you know, I originally got this impression from him that, you know, he kind of just wanted something casual and, you know, loosey-goosey and whatever. And then I had to deliberately take control of that reality and start implanting these new Post-it notes on it and start. And it felt like a game, you know, like, kind of like search and destroy, like, whatever is, like, the thing that you, like, see that you don't want, like, you flip it and then put a new Post-it note on it. And so that's kind of what I was doing, was just planting all these new seeds.
Great. Okay. Someone wrote then here, what was your mental diet like? What was your routine? And you just said routine. So what do you think you were doing routine? Did you have a routine?
I kind of just would pay attention to how I was feeling. And if I started noticing myself going off track, that's when I would really, like, whip out, like, for a while, I actually just had that piece of paper printed out physically with the head and all the thoughts around it. And then I got to the point where I'm like, that's not that convenient. Like, what? Like, so I recorded those thoughts and I had them, like, as an affirmation thing, like, on the Parrot app. And so I would just listen to them and just, like, imagine him saying all this stuff to me.
And what kind of things was it?
It was just a lot of stuff of saying, like, you're so important to me. I'm lost without you, you know, like just this kind of stuff where
Right.
it's like, I love having you in my life. Like,
Right.
I love, you know, taking care of you. I love looking after you. I love like just being with you. You bring me so much joy,
And you're
you know, all that
imagining
kind of
him
stuff.
saying that to you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
created that telepathic conversation idea in the thought transmission channel, because a lot of you are talking to yourself, but to hear an SP parrot it back, that
Hmm.
I'm sending it to you and you're going to parrot it back to me. I'm sending it to you and you're going to reflect it back to me, is something a lot of you have trouble imagining could even happen. But I bet you any money it
It
did. I
does
bet
happen.
you any money. Yeah, what Katerina had written down and recorded, he has parroted back to her. I bet you.
Oh, yeah. And his actions too have just demonstrated to me. Like, he began as like a person who really didn't want anybody living with him. He's like, I'm better off alone, la 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 la.
Right.
And now he literally just like constantly like calls it home, you know, when he's referring to his house. And, you know, he just like he loves involving me in his life, and he loves our little routines
Mm-hmm.
together. And he's
Mm-hmm.
just like, I can just tell how happy he is. And it's like fun because it's like, I did that, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Great. And you didn't have to sit him down, and you didn't have to give him an
no,
ultimatum, and you
I
didn't
don't
have to
give
tell him
him
what
the
you're unhappy
relationship
about.
talks at all.
Good.
And I literally have never. And because I remember you saying that the very beginning, like, it's completely pointless to have any sort of relationship talk with him. And like, I never even sat him down to say, so what are we? You know, like, I just let him start using the word girlfriend. I just let him, like, you know, refer to me like the little niece and nephews, like, they call me auntie. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, because like, I never told them I'm your auntie, you know. You know, like, I
Because all
don't.
they're ever going to reflect back to you is what you were thinking. So if you started
Mhm.
saying, I'm your auntie now, they'd be like, no, you're not. You know,
Yeah,
like, or if you said to
exactly.
him, what are we? He might be like,
Yeah,
well, let's just see how it goes. And you're like, but the reason you asked would have been because you weren't sure. So that all they could
right.
reflect back is, I'm not sure.
Exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
Katerina has learned to shut her mouth, guys. Have you noticed?
And it's so important because you don't even realize like how much power your mind has, because that's where everything is happening. And if you think that they're not going to want you, then they're going to show you that they don't want you. And I've
Mm-hmm.
literally manifested it both ways. And I know for a fact that it's literally just my thoughts doing whatever it is
Yep.
that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. How often did she affirm per day? And would be curious to know what her SP felt while she was being Delulu. Well, someone here is being Delulu and thinking we're being Delulu here, Catherine. You're very fucking lost. You're in the squad and you're lost. Guys, we're not being Delulu. We're changing our own thinking. What's Delulu about changing your own thinking? Some of you are so fucking clueless. It just blows my mind. Katerina isn't being Delulu. Listen to this interview again. Watch it back. She's literally changing what she already thought about herself. How is that delusional? She is literally changing what she already thought about relationships. That is not delusion. She is literally imagining to be something she wants in the future. That's about the only thing that maybe a person who doesn't understand this would call delusional, but it's future thinking, as if it's happening now. Some of you are so fucking clueless because you think this is magic. He isn't having thoughts being put in his mind by her. She's putting her own thoughts in her own mind, and he is what? Reflecting them. If you're not getting that, please watch this again and listen to everything she's just told you, that all she did was changed her own thinking. Are you going to say, Katerina?
So I just want to point out something too, because this is really important with the self-concept stuff. Like, I started telling myself that I'm the best, and then he literally tells me that I'm the best and that
Right.
he could find no one else in the universe like me. You know, like this kind of stuff. Like, there's no one better than you. Like I had to first think that I was the best. I had to first think that I was amazing. I had to first think that I was beautiful, because literally, guys, like, I thought the complete opposite about myself for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, that's all that's all this is like me just thinking these nice thoughts about myself,
Yeah.
and then he just tells me the nice thoughts that I'm thinking
Right.
about myself,
So
because
this
we're all
question that
one.
this girl is asking, what was he feeling while she was being Delulu, is so flawed in the question. because if you asked him, if we had him on the interview right now, just like when I was interviewing Holly and Hal, and I said to Hal, what were you feeling? And he goes, oh, it was all my own decision. I decided, and Holly was sitting there very mutely, quietly going, really? And Hal was just going, yeah, well, I decided we were going to be together, and I decided. They don't know, guys. Oh, shit. Katerina, press the button and something's happened. That just, Katerina, come back, just press request to join again. They don't know, guys, because they're literally thinking it. All they're thinking is what you've reflected to them. They don't know that they've changed. They don't know that you've done anything. They're not being influenced. They're literally your mirror, right? So they can't even say, oh, I felt this way whilst this, because they were just feeling what they were feeling. They don't know it was whilst anything. And a lot of you don't get that. Hang on, Katerina, can I get you back? Let me see if I can see you here. Oh, she's disappeared again. Oh, God damn it. I think she was pressing something on her screen, like questions, and then the questions went away, and then she went away. Katerina, come back. Where's she gone? Katerina, the hair is hairing, yes. Katerina is gorgeous and glowy, yes. Katerina, come back, darling. I'm back. Okay, hang on. Add you again. I can add you again. If not, request to join yourself, darling. Hey, she's back. Hooray! We lost her for a second.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. I accidentally
That's
swiped
all right.
too
No,
far.
I'm too scared to touch the screen after what happened before. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm like, okay, hands off.
if there's any more questions actually on the live itself, because I'm too scared to touch the screen. I'm just going to scroll up to the actual laptop. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the other things that you've manifested other than your SP?
Yeah. So there was I actually ended up deciding that I wanted to move on from this position, but this whole past year, so I was working at like a tanning salon for a while as like a part-time thing, and I didn't really like how the owner was running it. And I was working for them for like 2 years, and then I was just like one day kind of like visualizing in my head like how cool this place could be. And then literally 2 weeks later, Loz, like I get word that he's selling it, and then the lady who was buying it was like the perfect person to take it to the place that I wanted it to go. And so I worked with her for like a year and turned it into this like
Brilliant.
beautiful glowing goddess like haven, and it's even called Bella Vita, it's just like
gorgeous.
yes, and it's just like this beautiful, uplifting, empowering place where, we call women gorgeous and, just really help build up the self-esteems and the self-images of women. So like every day that I would be there, I was getting to like influence like 40 people a day, like in person, and just like having these really wonderful conversations with them. And it was really helpful for my self-concept too, because as I was doing all this work with you, like I had you kind of in my ear, and I'm sort of like beaming that like positive self-concept out to these women. And like I had so many of them kind of just, I watched them sort of blossoming, and they'd come in each time for their tans or their facials or whatever they were doing, and like just kind of having this like just altered self-image, and it's just like I got to be part of that. And I, during this whole like you're a winner course, that thing that we just completed in the squad, I decided that I was finished, with my time there. And I had helped build it up to a point where they had a lot of staff, and I just didn't feel like I was needed there so much anymore. And I wanted to focus on other things. And so I then chose to just come and help work for my mom part-time while like she's kind of elderly, and I've wanted to spend more time with her. And so I kind of have an arrangement now with her where she like just pays me for helping her around her house, and it works out really well. So, she needs the help, and I kind of want to spend time with her. So,
now guys, if you've got any questions, I can't see, there's 131 comments here, and for some reason I can't bloody see them all. So write your questions now, fresh and new, in the chat, or comment under your comment in the squad. and let me see your questions, because it's doing that thing where I can't, if I click 135 comments, I can't see them. So if you've got any more questions for Katerina, either repeat them or write a comment under the comment that you already wrote, and then I'll read them out. Hang on. And
No
how do you think you working on yourself and your body dysmorphia has helped you kind of like encourage other women? Do you think before, when you had kind of bad self-image, you wouldn't be as complimentary to other women? Not complimentary or not jealous, but do you think it helped you to be different in relationships with women, or the way you saw other women?
For sure. Because now I really just see us all as like a garden of flowers. Like we are all different and we're all beautiful. And that's kind of the part that I've come to now, is like, there's really no point in comparing, because how does an iris compare itself to a rose?
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, someone wrote here, what did you do to stop feeling so codependent?
I really started building my own sense of like autonomy. And I know that sounds kind of like lofty and vague, but just focusing on doing things for myself for no other reason besides like it makes me feel good and makes me feel happy. And I had to really learn communication skills too, because that was like a big thing, was I felt powerless when I would be in connection with other people, because I wasn't verbalizing my needs and I wasn't verbalizing like what I wanted. And so then I would just go along with whatever they wanted and whatever their flow was. But I learned how to hold my own phone and hold my own structure for myself. And one other thing I wanted to say that I manifested too is that, like, in relation with all the stuff with my mom, and like I'm actually, she told me today that I get to inherit the house and like all of the stuff, and it's like, it's a really gorgeous home too. And like that was something I had manifested, because like I really have wanted this home. Like this is where my art studio is. Like this is just perfect for me. I want to like turn it into an Airbnb rental like thing, where like all the rooms get rented and have like this whole like sanctuary kind of feel here. And like that was something that came from me really deciding to like make myself my priority, and then let other people reflect that back to me. Like the way that you guys are talking to me on the live and stuff, like that's how people talk to me in person too. And that came from this work, because before I was like getting ignored. I was literally having people be really mean to me. Like I was having people,
and look how encouraging and lovely all these comments are, telling you you're glowing and you're beautiful and your hair is hairing, and
and like, but that came from me choosing to see myself as important enough to make a priority, and choosing to ignore all of the negativity that I had internalized. And in spite of that, like it was really, even in spite of me dealing with heavy feelings, I still just kept putting one foot in front of the other, and you know, deciding to like put my hair in the freaking heatless curlers at night, deciding to, you know, go like wash my face even if I would rather be crying, you know, like just these little habits. And just, it's just the little action steps that really just show yourself that you matter. And sometimes it's so easy to ignore all that stuff and just wallow, but like I chose different for myself, because I didn't want that life anymore.
That's wonderful. Let me just see, did it feel like your old self was ever fighting you? So at what point did it start to change, when you doubled down and you bought the pearl? Someone's asked.
Yeah, I definitely had that, what felt like this like duel going on, because that old version of me was really all I knew. Like to be honest, Loz, like 3 years ago, before I worked at that tanning salon, like I was having like nervous breakdowns, and I was like literally hospitalized, like institutionalized, hospitalized, like mental ward stuff, because my mind was like so freaking out of control. And I didn't realize how much I was creating my own suffering. And I had completely alienated my family, like everybody. I was just like I was completely feeling like I was wronged by the last relationship, and I had so many painful stories. And so to see where I am today, recognizing that that old version of me had to die, there definitely was a battle there, like, because I had to keep, like, choosing to not let that version of me run my life.
Did you hear
And
what Katerina just said? She said that old version of her had to die, not just a little bit go away, had to literally die. And that's what Neville Goddard says, and what the Bible is saying about death of the old man. That's the old you.
yeah.
And so many of you are still clinging on to the old you still, and having beliefs of the old you still, and then you wonder why you haven't fully changed, or your reality hasn't fully changed. And if you can identify the parts of you that haven't fully died yet, you'll realize they're still showing up in your 3D. Right? So
Yeah.
the things that Katerina probably had mental breakdowns about in the past, if her SP triggered her in the recent past, I bet you any money they were things that she catastrophized about, or complained about, or ruminated about, or was angry about back in the day a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the trick for me now has been just like recognizing that, and it's kind of like a boop, like it's just like and like, okay, moving on,
right?
You know, that kind of like just clearing it out of the way, because you know, that old self-concept does, like, there's glimmers of it in moments that kind of just catch me off guard, and then I just have to regain my consciousness and my operant powerness,
right?
and like be
and
like,
what you
okay,
were saying, sorry.
No, what were you saying?
No, you were saying you get your operant powerness. So how are you getting your operant powerness? What you just said. What were you going to say?
Telling myself that I am the operant power, and like, you've talked about like getting off the saddle and stuff, and like, are you gonna piss and moan about like, oh, you got knocked off your horse? Like, no, I'm gonna choose to like get back up on my horse,
right,
and like actually just keep the reins, and just choose to direct my focus, because I think we often really forget. I mean, I'm including myself in this, like, we as a group of people, I watch your guys's Q&As sometimes, like, we forget that we're the ones that can direct our focus, no one else. It's just us.
Look,
and that's what Loz means when she says grab the reins.
Grab the reins. When I first started listening to Neville, he would say, you are the operant power, it cannot operate itself. And I'd be thinking, the fuck is he on about? It cannot operate itself. I didn't really understand it. And I kept hearing it and being like, what do you mean it can't operate itself? I didn't ever understand. It took me a long time to really get that. And that sounds like I was being thick. But what she's saying is, you can understand you're the cause of everything, or you can understand you have to change your thinking. But that thing where I say get back on the horse and steer the horse in the right direction, you're the only person who can operate the new thinking. You're the only person who can put that in place. It's not going to do it itself. So you can do all the affirmations and you can do the work, but if you don't take handle of it when it takes over you in moments of triggeredness, it will just be like a runaway horse. And what Katerina's saying is, you have to go, no, hang on. And what she was saying was, there are situations happening with her SP that most people would have said, oh, leave him, or oh, that's awful. But she's decided, hang on, is this what you're saying? And you took the reins and you're like, let's steer ourselves in another place, in another direction with new thinking, because I know I caused that thing, right?
Yes.
But some of you, what Katerina is saying, that some of you still in the Q&A, she has been in the squad for 2 years, she is watching your comments, and she's seeing you not operating it itself. You're allowing it to run away. You are not operating your mind correctly. What you're saying, you see in the Q&A, what kind of things do you see in the Q&A that you now look at and go, or you go, don't think that? What are the things that are coming up that people are doing that you see?
Gosh, when people start talking about third parties or anything like that, I recognize how I, in the past, would do that. And you yelled at me one time about that kind of stuff. And like, ever since then, that really did like turn on a light bulb for me, because I didn't realize how much I was focusing on the other person, focusing on what they're doing, focusing on what they've got going on in their life. And I, in that way, was invalidating my own importance and my own like place in my life. And like, when I really chose to stop giving attention to that, that's when that stuff changed. And now like literally, I like it's so funny today, but like, I was waiting for for my SP at the gym to finish up today, and like this guy literally comes out of nowhere and he's like hot, like almost hotter than my SP. And like, and he was like, "You look good," like that. And like that version of me that you yelled at, Loz, was just so like had her head far up her ass and like
Yep.
could not even have magnetized a moment like that or any
Or
of
if
the
you
positive
had,
things that
or
I
if
had
you had,
posted.
you might have thought, oh, this guy's just being a jerk, or what does he want? You'll even read it wrong, even if
Right,
it
or
hadn't
turn it
happened
into
before.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
So it's like
lovely.
I didn't see myself as important or priority enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was focusing so hard on those situations, those negative experiences that like are three
Yep.
Ps and blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah, circumstances this, blah blah blah.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
this is all wrong and it won't ever work. And you're creating that. You're literally creating that it won't work if
Yep.
you say that it won't work.
Yep. Or it isn't working, or I don't see movement, or.
Yeah, those
Yep.
are all things that you are coding into your reality as a script and saying, hey, this is the command. Like, has any of you ever seen like a Linux command prompt where you are like typing in what you want to have happen and then it happens? Like, that's literally all those thoughts. That's what's happening. You're literally typing it into the command prompt and going, all right, sending the order. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just seeing what else is. So it was like you not focusing on yourself was giving your power away. Yeah. So when she wasn't
Yeah,
focusing on herself back in the day, she was giving her power to the third parties, to any situations, to any SP, to any boss that was annoying her. She's giving it away to whomever had control over her rather than her having control over her. Mm-hmm.
exactly. And making them like this like really big thing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I there's like this like Christian saying that resonates with me, and it's saying like they say like don't tell me how big your problem is, tell your problem how big your God is, like that kind of a thing, and just flip it and recognize that
Mm-hmm.
God's in you, and like
Mm-hmm.
that God in you is bigger than any problem that you could
Right.
literally ever come across. And if you can rest in that and trust
Mm-hmm.
that, then you don't really need to know how it's all going to play out. You just
Mm-hmm.
visualize that it played out and that it's
Isn't that what
over and
every
that it's
biblical
done.
story where something miracle happened is telling you? Loaves to
Yeah.
fishes, moving mountains,
Yeah.
a 90-year-old having a baby. It's telling you all the things that you can have if only you would imagine having it, right?
Yeah, just that
If only you
little
knew
bit of
that you
faith.
were, yeah, that faith in yourself. And so I think some of you are so ensconced in whatever's happening in front of you, which is the 3D. And what Katerina is displaying in this interview is that her 3D, she wasn't paying a hell of a lot of attention to. So tell us how you did that. So when things were showing up in your 3D and you said you would go into the future, how did you manage to not allow the 3D to throw you like it used to? What do you think you were doing?
Well, my vivid, like I've really like cultivated that vivid imaginary like reality where I
Mm-hmm.
do believe that it's real. And I think a lot of people might struggle with knowing how real it really is.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, because of some of the stuff that I've flipped around in my life, like I just I just kind of rested there and just knew, because of the evidence that I had had, like my track record of things that I've, created in my life, like, you know, before I ever knew fully consciously how I was doing it, I've been doing this my whole life. And if I really
Right.
am honest, like I created and manifested a lot for myself just over the course of my lifetime. And
Mm-hmm.
your way of describing it helped me make it more repeatable and like, oh yeah, that's what I did, that kind of a thing, and just kind of
Right.
learn how to just kill the doubt and just choose to suspend all disbelief and just allow myself to rest in that moment of like pure bliss in my imagination. And like doing that enough has shown me that that actually does work, and that is how the process of creation is actually happening. So in moments of discomfort and moments of things not going right, like I just choose to stop whatever train of thought was happening before.
Right.
You know, because I recognize, like I said before, where I recognize where that seed was planted, and then I dig it up, plant a new seed.
Right.
And then choose to keep persisting in that visualization. And it's not even a long thing, you know, it's like, okay, I was sitting on the couch over there, like at our place. It's so cute to think about it that way. And I was thinking, like, because I wanted to tell you guys, like, what specifically I've been doing that's different. And if I could boil it down to one thing, and it's really just choosing to behave as the version of me who gets to have the golden anniversary with my beloved, you know, and just choose to like live from that place rather than the place of me, like living from that assumption rather than living from the identity of being the girl who's going to get broken up with and have someone who like just doesn't want her, you know, because like there's literally two versions, you know, it's like pick one. And so that's really what it means for me to live from the end, because I'm living assumptively that we're going to be together happily forever,
Right.
you know, and like just choosing to rest in that rather than the anxiety of the other, because the other does produce a lot of anxiety, because you're thinking it's like you can't even think beyond the next day because you're so focused on, you know, the breakup and there's going to be upheaval. But if you let yourself be in this other place where you're thinking about forever, and even if there's not been marriage vows exchanged or anything like that, like you can still inhabit that, you know, it's like you can still allow yourself to go there and create that and choose to like actually live in the idea that you're going to be eating dinner together in 3 days, you know, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's two different mental spheres to operate from. And I had to bring myself from this one and bring myself over here, just over and over and over and over again.
I think I was
until this
reading
became more
here
normal.
at the bottom of one of your stories, you wrote, realize that there is nothing between you and that it's done already. Put yourself in the imaginal state of already being in the committed relationship. Imagine going to bed with him every night and saying, good night, babe, and kiss your pillow. Get Delulu. Pay no attention to the old situation you manifested.
I literally did that. Did that. And now I fall asleep in his bed, in our bed, like literally every night now. And it's like, but I created that first by being in my twin bed, like, and kissing the pillow and just imagining just like a 3-second scene of me leaning over and kissing him and saying goodnight. And I have now physically had that experience more times than I can count. Because I created it in that, you know, I don't like the term delulu. It's a cutesy term, but
it doesn't make any sense to me. Delusion. It's not delusion. It's literal imagination.
Creation.
How is that delusional? It's creation. Guys, we're imagining things all the time. And if you guys are thinking any of this is delusional, you are so fucking lost about how life works, how your brain works. Like, I just don't understand how anyone can call it delusional. It's actually not. And we can say it's delulu like in a fun, you know, catchphrasey way, but it's literal use of your mind. Like, that's all it is. So Katerina literally used her mind correctly, and then it's manifested. Like, it's that logical, guys. It's not, I don't get how a lot of you think this is like fanciful or magical. It's not. Like, I can walk around this house and sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, imagine this kind of bathroom. Like, or I'll be like, oh yeah, I really wanted this kind of like kitchen setup and now I have it. Like, I just, every now and again, I'll look at something in my house and be like, oh yeah, I wanted that. I wanted those plants. Like the other day I was looking at the plants in my garden and I was like, I remember I wanted these cousin it plants, and I also wanted a house that had these plants growing around the pathway. And I used to walk along the beach road, and there was this one garden in this house. And I used to think, oh, I want a garden like this, and I want this plant, and I really want, and I don't know why it was this specific, I really want these little like not creepers, but like ground plants that go around a pavement. And the other day I was looking at my pavement and it was getting covered by these ground plants. And I was thinking, oh fuck, I've got those ground plants around my pavement now. They've grown so much. And I wanted those 2 years ago, right?
Yes,
Every now and again, but I wasn't walking like past the house and going, oh, it's delusional for me to want these plants around a footpath one day. At that time, I had no money. I didn't even have money to buy a house that would have a footpath that had those plants, you know, but like so many of you think it's delulu. It's not. It's the use of your imagination correctly. That's it, right?
it is. It is. And that makes me think about even just the studio space I'm sitting in right now. Like, there was some tenant that was living here in this room, and I imagined that I would get to have this room as my studio space, and that I was going to be able to move out of the room that I was renting before, and where it was farther away from my mom. And so this is like right here in her house, and like I wanted to be close and be able to like have this closeness with her, and you know, be able to make all my art and have everything. And like this
now
room, I manifested it. Like, this is such a beautiful space. Like, I wanted
like
these plants. I wanted this like, yeah, like this like fun like sparkly stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole space that it wasn't available until I manifested it. Like, the guy, he had lived here for 8 years, Loz, and like
he wasn't gonna leave. Yeah,
he wasn't gonna leave. And so I just chose that to think that I was gonna have it some way, and it just all worked out. And even my dad was like, no, I want that room back as my office, and da da da. And that's all just like dissipated too, because like I've claimed it.
Let me give you one last question before we go, because my dog's starting to cry her eyes out, and I don't know why. Okay, this is the last one. Can you talk about prioritizing yourself, not from doing nice things for yourself, but from the mindset point of view? E.g., is it about not giving power to others? Can you make clear what priority means? So for those people who really didn't do my Be Their Priority course and really don't get it, what do you think you were doing mind-wise to make yourself priority, and what do you think priority means to you?
To me, it just means filling my mind and my time with things that feel like they are lighting me up, and what are like things that my soul feels are important. And like making that like my whole focus, and allowing myself to just be engrossed in that activity. And like,
but in terms of being prioritized by others, how do you think you now think about yourself to manifest that happening?
Like with what I just said, you know, just focusing on me, and then all of a sudden I become very important to other people when I'm very important to myself.
Right.
And
suddenly become like very important to other people when you become important to yourself. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. And that's what it means. It's like, you can't just like go around thinking, you're going to make me a priority. You're going to make me a priority. Like, that's not how it works. Like, are you making you a priority? Are you treating yourself good? Are you like being kind to yourself? Like, they're literally just mirroring you.
Right. Are you expecting good from others? Are you expecting good treatment? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I saw some question above this one that you just read off. And they were talking something about like, how do you, like, what did they say? They said something about, how do you get somebody to do what you want? You basically just assume that they're going to do what you want.
When your SP started
you
doing
get
what you wanted, when your SP started doing what you wanted, how did you accept and trust that you get what you want with your SP?
I just started assuming that I get what I want with everything, and that I always get what I want. Like, it's that simple. You don't.
The problem with this question is this person isn't understanding that the chicken comes before the egg. She can't get what she wants from the SP because she hasn't accepted that she will get what she wants from the SP. So she can't get what she wants because she has not accepted that that's possible. So it's a confusing question, because what she hasn't understood is the acceptance of getting it has to come first, not afterwards. So guys, so many of you are looking for change in the 3D, and then you can accept it's changed. Did you not listen to anything Katerina has just said throughout this entire 1 hour interview? She imagined it first, and then it happened, not the other way around. And you guys are trying to make it happen in the 3D, and then you're going to accept that it's going to continue to happen. Only the acceptance prior to it occurring makes it occur. Continue to occur when you persist in that new version of you. If you persist in the old version of you that doesn't accept that it's even possible to persist, it won't keep happening, and the SP will go back to the person who isn't prioritizing you, because you have gone back to the old you. You need to watch this again. Some of you asking the questions in the squad here need to rewind and literally listen to everything Katerina is saying, because you are deaf. You are deaf to me, and you are deaf to her, and you are literally only paying attention to your 3D circumstances still. And you are asking us about 3D said circumstances in the question, and not literally hearing what Katerina has just said for an hour. Did she mention the 3D circumstances once in this interview? Did she talk about what he was doing before? Did she talk about the version of her SP before when he was showing up not the way she wanted? Did she even mention what he said to her that hurt her? She has only spoken of herself and spoken of her imaginal activity in this fucking interview, and you guys are asking questions about 3D, about your SP, about how he's acting, and can you trust him to act that way? If you've got issues about trusting him to act that way, you've got fucking trust issues. Damn it. I'm getting pissed off at these questions. Watch this back. Really fucking listen. Katerina was here for 2 fucking years. It probably didn't sink in until I started screaming at her in lives about what she wasn't hearing me say.
And I really thought I was. That's the funny part, is I really thought I was. And then it did. Yeah, it really did take that.
Katerina didn't let the 3D dictate what she knows to be true. Thank you, Kat. One of our mentors giving us the fucking corker of a comment there. Guys, watch this back. Really hear what she's telling you. She used her imagination wisely, and so many of you are still using it incorrectly or not using it at all, and all you're looking at is out here. How do I trust him? What do you mean? What kind of fucking question is that after we've just spoken about what she did internally for an hour? Jesus Christ.
You know what's one of my favorite things to think about too is like movies.
Right.
You know, like you know that there's gonna be some drama bullshit playing out in the middle of the movie,
What
but you know that the end
no
is gonna be
drama?
happy.
Exactly. The whole movie was happy. What a fucking boring film.
Exactly. You just gotta realize that you're just in the movie, and it's gonna play out. You just gotta let it go all the way to the end.
Right. And what Katerina kept imagining was the end. You guys getting this? So when she's telling you, go back in the squad and read her success stories that she's written. There's about 12 of them. Okay. And she said, I went back and I was imagining lying in bed with him and saying, good night, babe. And now it happens every night. What don't you guys get about this? She didn't have him there to say good night to at the time. She imagined it to be true. God damn it. Yep. When she didn't have hair that was growing and it was all scraggly at the ends, she imagined that she had lovely hair. Right now. Katerina, thank you so much, darling, for all your wisdom in this live. We have loved hearing from you, and you're such a beautiful being. We can see you, like your beauty emanates through the screen. I'm telling you right now, you're so pretty as well. And all the comments are all how beautiful you look and how glowing you are.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And we can't wait to hear more from you, darling. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Loz. I can't say enough of how much you've changed my life. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You've done it yourself. Darling, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, do you mind if later on, after the success case files is over, if we put this on YouTube, or would you rather us not put this on YouTube? What do you think?
You can put it on YouTube. I'm okay with that.
You sure? Okay. All right, darling. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, Katerina. Keep going.
Love you too, Loz. Thank you.
Bye, darling. Bye.
Bye.
To what she did. It wasn't 3D stuff, and it wasn't looking at the 3D. Watch it back and really hear her. Sometimes you don't want to hear me. Listen to a success story instead. Some of you find my yelling too much. Listen to her sweet way of explaining this instead. Watch it back and listen to what she did internally about who? Herself. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the success case files. Make sure you're here for it. Make sure you're asking your questions correctly now in the Q&A forum. What are you not going to talk about? Listen to what she did. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks for joining me. Bye.